Henry Ford once said, if I did market research, people would probably say they wanted faster horses. The second one is a guy named Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs once said, I don't do market research. The consumers aren't supposed to know what they want. And I love that. Why? Because it was their passion. Their passion made them know whatever they made will click with the people. Whatever they made, the people will like it. But the one skill that they had, which I really, really admire, is the ability to influence people. Steve Jobs is from our age. He influenced me, you, and all of us sitting here. Henry Ford did that in his age. And that brings me to my topic today, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP. Now when you see the topic, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, most of you start thinking, ugh, that's unbelievably complicated. And you would be right, it does sound unbelievably complicated. But it isn't. It isn't as complicated as it sounds. And the number of people who actually use NLP, it's a small number. And all of us were born doing NLP. We did it until we were 9 or 10 years old. Then we stopped doing it because we thought it was very childish. And I want to give you a few examples of a few people who have used NLP. One I just spoke. He was a very young Steve Jobs before he became very successful. And then Steve Jobs, after he became really, really successful and as the legend as we know him today. Another one. Anyone know who this is? Okay, this is a young Barack Obama. This is when he was 13 years old. And obviously he learned, he studied, and he used his NLP techniques and became this. Now, obviously that's a big transformation. The third one, let's come closer to home now. This is a young Shah Rukh Khan. He doesn't have parents. He was alone in the industry. And he worked his ass off and became King Khan, as we know it. Steve Jobs was given up at birth. He was adopted by someone else. And he didn't know his parents until he was 25. And he worked towards it. He used some NLP techniques to become the legendary Steve Jobs. Barack Obama was a nobody. He was a black man. And you know the amount of racism there is in America. And he influenced 450 million Americans to become the most powerful man in the world. Shah Rukh Khan, like I said, parents died, no one in the industry, worked himself and became the Don of Bollywood, or the King Khan. So I think most of you will now agree that it's a small number of people who actually use NLP. And when you start to think, when you see the kind of people who are using NLP, you might even say it's not a small number, it's a really small number. It's a tiny number of people who go down to start using NLP. And it is unbelievably complicated. And I don't want to get into the really complicated parts, I just want you to talk about three normal things, three basic things that most of you will understand. The first one is influencing, or subliminal messaging, as he said in my introduction. Subliminal messaging is being used by brands all around us to influence us. I'm going to talk about a bit of that. Second thing is something which is very close to my heart. I've been doing that since I was 11. Magic. It's used by a select handful of magicians all over the world to give the illusion of reading minds, or to give the illusion that they're influencing you in a way. The third one is mirroring, which all of us can use in our day-to-day lives. And I'll talk about each of these. The first one is influencing. Now the best example of influencing is this. A movie hall. You go for a movie, and you say, okay, I'll buy the movie tickets, and that's it, I don't want popcorn or Pepsi. You go there, and in the interval there's the sign that says, buy popcorn, buy Pepsi. There are people around you having popcorn and Pepsi. And even if you don't feel like having it, just the fact that people around you are having it, there's the sign that says, buy popcorn, buy Pepsi, you feel hungry and you want to buy it. Like in the beginning someone says, a kid goes to McDonald's and says, bhook lagi hai. Same thing, you sit there, you see the popcorn Pepsi sign, and you want to have popcorn and Pepsi. And this was started by a guy called James Vickery back in 1962. And he started putting up signs either in the beginning or in the middle of the movie. And popcorn and Pepsi sales went up by 78%. So initially there was one person having popcorn and Pepsi. Just because of this sign, there was 78 people having popcorn and Pepsi in the movie. And this is amazing. Now I want to show you a case study. It's a Harvard case study. It's pretty famous. It's a Nike. All of us like Nike, we love Nike. Now imagine this, if you go to a mall or a marketplace or anything, you look around, you look at the stores, and every store has this board of it and the name with its logo. And all of us, for some reason, find ourselves walking into Nike. I find myself walking into Nike just to window shop for some reason. Why is that? You look around, the signboards have the name and the logo. Adidas will have Adidas with those 3 stripes. Reebok will have either Reebok or RBK with that weird design of theirs. But Nike is the most successful sports brand all over the world. Why? Because a Nike store will never say Nike. It'll just have a tick mark. And when you're looking around, that tick mark subconsciously triggers, right, this is the right place to be. And unknowingly or knowingly, you find yourself walking in just to window shop. And then once we walk into window shop, every corner of the store is designed to influence us. If you walk up to the shoes section, which is what Nike started with, and there'll be shoes, right behind there it'll say Nike, tick mark, just do it. If you go to the jerseys, it'll say Nike, tick mark, just do it. You go to the armbands or any apparel, it'll say Nike, tick mark, just do it. Now, if a person doesn't know about Nike, just do it doesn't make any sense. I come to think of it, even if you know about Nike, and you think about it now, just do it doesn't make any sense at all. After all, what does just do it mean? This thing is designed to influence us to buy. When it says just do it, we're in a shop. Just do what? Just buy. Now, most of you think, okay, that's bold to death. That can't be true. I'll have a figure for you. 45.2% of the people who walk into Nike to window shop end up buying something. You say, okay, that's not a big number. Compare that to Adidas, that's 3.6%. 13 times the number of people end up buying something in Nike if they go to window shop. This is not counting the number of people who actually go with the intention to buy. Now, I want to show you a picture of a Nike London store. On opening day, the Nike London store had larger than life shoe at the entrance and the tick mark. And you walk in, there are shoes hanging from the ceiling. There are shoes in every corner of the shop, and there are shoes in everywhere you look. They're just shoes, shoes, and shoes. It didn't have apparel then. I have the picture, and you can see a bit of apparel here. But initially, when it was open, there was no apparel in the Nike stores. Now, what happened is, I went to City Walk to do a little bit of research, and I asked the shopkeepers of Nike there, and how many shoes do you sell in a month? Let's say 1,000 to 1,500 pairs of shoes. If it's a good month, we'll end up selling 2,000 shoes. Diwali was last month, so we sold 3,000. The Nike London store, when it opened, in 3 days, sold 15,000 pairs of shoes. Imagine yourself walking into the store and you see shoes hanging from the ceiling. How can you not want to buy shoes? There are shoes in every corner. How can you not want to buy shoes? And that's the first thing I wanted to talk to you about. The second thing I want to talk to you about is this. It's not a picture of me standing on stage. It is basically, again, what I started with. Something which is very close to my heart. Magic. Now when you hear, okay, he's a magician, 3 things come to your mind. First thing, okay, he's going to be wearing a hat and a tuxedo, which I'm not. Second thing that comes to your mind is, okay, he's going to have cheesy background music and bikini-clad girls dancing around. Which again, I'm not. I'll have a full house if that's true. Third thing that comes to mind is, okay, he's going to cut my wife or girlfriend in half, or start flying. Which again, I'm not. So a lot of you start thinking, waste of time, he's not a magician. That's why my introduction said I use magic, suggestion, psychology, misdirection and showmanship to give the illusion of reading minds. And this is how I influence people using NLP. I want you all to try something. And genuinely do this. You might look a little stupid doing it, but genuinely try this. Keep your hand in your head. Do this for me, all of you do this. Keep your hand in your head. Excellent. Keep your hand in your chest. And keep your hand on your wrist. Excellent. Very learned people here. This is your elbow, not your wrist. Now what you're doing is you're seeing what I'm doing and not really listening. And that's how I influence you. Now I want to take it a step further. And actually, I have a prediction right at the end of my presentation. And I want to try something with 4 of you. I'll use 4 speakers. And I have a deck of cards. It's the easiest way people in India relate to a magician if he's not cutting your wife in half. Now, sir, can you confirm for me that this is a normal deck of cards? Yes, thank you. I'll have 4 of you pick random cards. I'll keep the mic aside for a second. Can all of you hear me? Yeah. Perfect. Your name was, what's your name? Okay. As I go down, you just say the word stop, and I'm trying to influence you to say stop at a particular point. Just say stop at everywhere. Stop. Okay. Take that card, don't look at it again. Yeah? Same thing for you. As I go down, you just say the word stop. Take that card, don't look at it. Same thing. As I go down, you just say the word stop. Okay. Take that card, don't look at it. And my beautiful people. As I go down, you just say the word stop. Excellent. Take that card, don't look at it. I want all of you to look at your cards and show it to everyone. Just spread it across the hall, and even I can see it, that's not a problem. What we're going to try to do is form a number using these cards, basically. Right? And aces are 1, jacks are 11, queens are 12, and kings are 13. And jokers 1.25, we're not going to use that. I hope none of you ended up with a joker. Yeah, excellent. Now we're going to form a number. Can you look at me and just say the name of your card in your head over and over again? All of you can start doing that. Just don't say the suit, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, don't go for that. Just either 2, 3, whatever it is, just say that in your head over and over again and look at me while you do that. Ace? Ace of spades, I'm guessing. You don't? Yeah. Show it around, show the ace of spades to everyone around. And, okay, thank you. Now, thank you so much. Other 3 of you, I'm not going to try to guess your cards. Just into the mic firstly, what's your card? 3, okay, and what's your card?
Jack.
Jack. Okay, yours is also a jack. Okay, so if aces are 1, and then there's a 3, then there are 2 jacks. Jacks are 11. So that'll be 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just remember that number. And that's the second thing I want to talk to you about. And we'll get to that towards the end. Right? Now, before I move on to the third thing, I want to show you a picture. Observe this picture for a moment. This is something that we started doing when we were kids. You're 3, 4 years old, you go to school or you go to school, play school, and to tease your friends, you copy what they're doing. Right? They sneeze, you sneeze. They lift their left hand, you lift their left hand. They lift their left leg, you lift your left leg. And you try to copy what they're doing just to irritate them. All of us have done this when we were kids. Then we grew old, and we thought, oh, this is childish, let's not do it. But this is a very interesting concept. If you look here, you might think, okay, this is a guy and a girl on a date. And the girl's laughing, smiling slightly, her cheeks are flushed, she's trying to flirt. And the guy over here is not very interested, he's trying to act very cool, he's trying to act like a star. But if you notice, the guy has his hand on his cheek, the girl has her hand on the cheek. What the guy is trying to do is copy the girl, to try and get her to like him. Now, and we always say that, okay, I like this person, he's exactly like me. I love her, she's a carbon copy of me. People always like other people who are like them. Now by doing this, the girl starts thinking, okay, the guy is exactly like me, there's something here, I like him. All of us can do this. If we go for an interview, let's say I'm going to an interview and a guy asks me, okay, what do you do? Or probably he can say, okay, what do you do? And I say, I do magic and I just spoke a TED. Now notice what I did here. He said, what do you do? And I said, I do magic and I spoke a TED. I'm copying his body movements very subtly, otherwise it would be rude obviously. Very subtly, I copy his body movements. And he's left with the thought, okay, I like this person. And even if I don't, I'm suitable for that job, he'll remember me 10, 20 years down the line. And if he has any other job, he'll say, okay, that person was a magician, he spoke in a TED. He was pretty cool, he was a lot like me, I want to work with him. And all of us can do this, not just in interviews, not just in dates, but in our day-to-day life. If you go up to someone, anyone will like you if you're like that. Try to copy them very subtly, and that person will start liking you. And that's called mirroring. And that's the third thing that I want to talk to you about. Now, I started with Henry Ford and Steve Jobs. I wanted to end with Steve Jobs, because he's a massive idol to me, and I want to dedicate this to him after he died. And if you've seen a lot of Steve Jobs keynotes and presentations, how many of you have? Show of hands. How many of you have seen Steve Jobs? Okay, that's a pretty healthy majority of you. Steve Jobs ended his presentation by saying, one more thing. And I have one more thing to show you. The 4 of you picked cards. There was an ace, there was a 3, and there were 2 jacks. Yeah? So the number I said would be 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. And I said I had a kind of a prediction at the end. What I did try and do to influence all 4 of them, when I was going down the deck and they were saying stop, the moment I tapped my foot, they said stop. I had a trigger in the head the moment I walked out. I tapped my foot twice and I went down there and I did the same thing with them. Whenever I tapped my foot, they said stop. I knew which cards I wanted them to pick, and I knew that that's the number that's going to come out, and I knew that will be the number that comes up. 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. Thank you. Just a second. Now most of you start thinking, okay, he just had 484,000 different versions of the slide, and he had someone here swap the numbers as soon as the cards were picked. You could be right, but you're not. Because I came up with this number 2 months ago when I started building my talk for TED, because it wouldn't have worked if any other cards were picked, because that is the 13th of the 11th, 2011. That that is today's date. This was my talk. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. Everything's so nice. I'd like to go back and check this out. Thank you.